Well, hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On today's video, we're going to finalize setting up our north pasture, making a little chute for our piglets to get out of the training paddock and onto, what I've got here, about an acre's worth of hillside pasture for them to get onto, because it's time to get them out of here. So come along. So for those of you keeping score at home, we are a little over 4 weeks on having the piglets here in the training paddock. Copious amounts of wood chips, copious amounts of hay. I think I've put 6 bales of hay in here, and copious amounts of rain. I think in the last 4 weeks we have had almost 6 inches of rain. It's been a little ridiculous, but you know, we're definitely broken of the drought we had last year. But anyway, bit muddy here. I got to say the odor is very, very faint. Hardly any odor. I thought with all this rain that would get in front of me and I'd have an issue, but it's not bad at all. But what we're going to do, of course, is work to get this door open over here, give them access, everything you see behind the training paddock up to the driveway. That's that angle that comes down behind there. This is all hillside, woodlot, pasture, whatever you want to call it, all the way up past the sawmill, and then a portion past our blueberries. So I'll show you all that as we get into this. But the game plan would be open them up, let them out, and they'll still use this as a home base. So I don't want to abandon this as far as mitigating mud and still adding wood chips. I want to just keep building this up because I think they're going to come back. It's probably where I'm going to have the feeder for a while. I really want to get more accumulated manure here with wood chips. I'd like to build this up. I'd love to have about 4 inches more of strata of wood chips and manure and composted hay or straw. And you can see even over here where they're churning it, where the feeder was. I've been moving the feeder around a little bit. They're churning all that in, turning that stuff. It's good. But I want to be able to give them an opportunity to get out, get away from some of their manure load, of course, so we don't encourage parasite issues and kind of have the best of both worlds. So what I'm hoping we'll see here once this is established and they can come and go, that on cold nights, they may be down here in the hut, staying nice and cozy. They've built a nice little nest in there. I walled it out pretty good. And then on warm days, the pasture will have access to some really nice, there's a huge multiflora rose bush that hangs out over the creek here. There's a nice spot. My red wattles hung out there for a while, several years ago. And I think they'll have plenty of choices for temperature variation. So cold night in the hut, warm day or warm night, they can even be up on the hill or down here in the laying on the edge of the creek. So really all I need to do is just uncover, since it's been 2 years of utilizing this pasture, just need to uncover. There's been a lot of multiflora rose grown over in some spots. Some of my posts have gotten a little aged, and I just need to go through, adjust my tensioners. Going to put some more Troy posts throughout to just really gird up that fence nicely. And then we'll just tie it in, my hot wire coming into the paddock. We'll just tie it in there and we'll electrify this whole section. All right, so it's been a couple days since the last scene you just saw, and a couple days of rain, of course. And I have the entire paddock. I've gone over it, unburied the wire, cleared the ground around it. See how much even weed eated under this earlier this week, and that's how much it's grown back already because of the rain. But put my Troy posts in. Thought I'd grab a Troy post. So those of you who are new to the channel are not familiar with this. It's just a post that I make up with 1/2-inch conduit. It's actually the cheapest form of post that I have found that lasts longer and utilizes 3 components really: 1/2-inch metal PVC, any type of pin lock insulator that can be screwed in, and then self-tapping screws. And I think I did a video about it. I don't know if I did a video, but I've done presentations on it. I think I've done a video on it. Anyway. So I put together 24 of those because I had a lot of this metal conduit lying around from the old greenhouse. So using up all the used stuff there, which makes it even more cheap, of course. But I have all that lined in all the way around. Let me show you a shot over here. So I don't know if it's showing up here on the camera, but you can see within the shot, there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Troy posts. So the fence goes right through here, turns and goes down toward that leaning beech tree. and that's where it goes down, crosses the creek, and ties in. So everything here, the pigs will have access to in phase 1, pasture 1. And then what we'll do, I've got a little gate opening down here, just a gate latch that I can take off and let the pigs over on this side. And the demarcation, when I have the fence in place, will be right here. And then everything you see on this side, where these autumn olives and sycamore trees are starting to take off, which we've got to get taken care of. And then all the way back to the road down to the Stone Creek crossing. So the only thing I need to do now is got a couple gate latches that are all rusted up and broken, so I need to swap some of those out. And I got one spot where I'm grounding up pretty badly, so I'll take you guys along and show you that. I didn't detail all the weed eating and putting in the posts. That figured that was pretty much self-explanatory. So right here in this spot, I have my end brace, because this is kind of the anchor point for the fence. It goes all the way down the driveway and has a look at watch this. Goes all the way down the driveway and has a tensioner on that end. Well, I have this gate latch here, and I really don't need a gate. I discovered when I set this up, I thought, well, to come in and come back, I need to have these sides, both sides, be openable, but it really doesn't matter. So I'm going to remove this latch because it's gotten rusty. These things, that's the problem with them, is over time they rust up and their conductivity decreases, which then, of course, affects the ability for the fence to maximize its charge, energizing potential. So since I have a latch just on that side, I'm going to take this one and use it here, if I've got enough slack. So this is where white-tailed deer got me. So they do their thing. They like to hit this wire about 80 miles an hour, so it causes it to come apart, of course, or these handles to come apart. So we're going to swap it out. So not only do I have the broken handle issue here, but I've also got an issue with using my stubby insulators. I use these stubby T-post insulators simply because the ones that extend out further, when white-tailed deer hit these wires, they don't break the wires, but they always snap off the insulators. I mean, I have hundreds and hundreds of insulators I've had to replace in the last 12 years where they break off. So these little stubbies don't break off as much, but it is causing a problem where I have this energized, and I'll show you. The camera's picking up on this, but you can see where the wire comes in close, so close proximity to the tab of the T-post, it's grounding out. And so it was arcing here and actually caused the paint to actually blister on the T-post because it just keeps arcing. And what's funny is I was here yesterday, I wanted to do a test. So I put my testing meter down in the ground when this was hot, even though it was arcing. And as soon as I put that ground rod of the testing meter into the ground, I still had a hold of the metal. I could feel it. It popped me a little bit because it's grounding into the T-post and into the ground that much. It continued to circuit there. So we're going to swap this out, and we're just going to put another little, I don't know what you call these things. I just call them donuts. We're going to put another little donut here that goes this way that the gate will be able to latch into, and it'll keep that wire away from that. This is the jumper that energizes this section to this section. And of course, this is not hot. This is just wire that's an anchor. It's holding it to the T-post. And these are under, got a tensioner down at the other side that's got this nice and taut. And speaking of whitetail, yeah, of course, they take a dump right where I'm working. All right, so the plan, obviously, even with the fence on, I can hook and unhook. If I need to grab hold of anything, I can just grab hold here. That will not be hot. Latch it into place. This is my jumper. I'll pull tight that direction. So I've got one spot here where I have a drainage depression. A little bit of water comes down off the hill, drains through this little low spot. There's kind of a berm here. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this is a little road access. This is why I made this demarcation of the pasture in this spot. So when I put a Troy post down in the low spot to get the wire low enough so the pigs don't just walk under it, and of course we have a little bit of ground contact right here as you come up out of that little swale. So that's why I like these things so much. Just like you'd have a fiberglass step-in post or something really inexpensive like that. It serves a purpose where you can move it around easily. But unlike a fiberglass step-in post, you're not going to have the tabs break off of it after a couple months when white-tailed deer hit it. If I show you all my step-in posts, you would see the ones that have been around for several months already have most of the little tabs broken off the bottom. I have to keep moving around. And so that'll work. All right, so now let's go down to the pig area there, and I'll show you basically a huge circle, but the last 2 feet, the circuit's not complete. So I got to figure out a way to complete the circuit, but still leave an alleyway for the piglets to get through. All right, full circle. Okay, so this is kind of difficult to discern on camera, so I'm going to show you on the map. We have our north pasture, section 1, all completed, tied in, except right here. The one side of the fence comes to here, and the other side of the fence terminates here. So that loop terminates with this about a 5-foot gap here. I'm standing in the alleyway that I want the piglets to come out. We have our door here, so I want them to always be able to come out, turn, and hit the hill, but still be able to come back and access the feeder, the hut, and anything else they want to mess up. So what I need to do, of course, is make a barrier that keeps them from wanting to turn and just go this way, because where you guys are, we want pigs. Or this side, we don't want pigs. So we want them to turn and go here, and that's what I'm going to use this section 8-foot hog panel for. So we'll put that in place. But then also, I need to get power from the fence. I'd like to have that continuous loop. It'll energize the way it is, no problem. But I like to have that continuous loop for redundancy, just in case something gets severed up here on this corner. We don't have this entire side where you guys are dead. That would not be good. So I want to have that tied in. What I've done in the past is simply just put insulators here at the top of the T-post, and just run wire up and over. And I think that's what I'll do. The only drag to that is I have to duck under it. So if I want to step inside this corral, since I'm going to have a barrier here, I want to step inside this corral, I have to come and duck under that. And as always, when I'm wearing a hat, I just don't duck enough. So I usually take a couple thousand volts to the forehead, but we'll see. I may be able to jump over to this T-post since it's a little taller and not have to duck as much. Or if needed to, I guess I could put some other thing. Oh, we'll see. We'll see what it's worth. Maybe just stop being stupid, Troy, is the key to this. Seems kind of odd, even counterintuitive, to put a physical barrier here, but then have all this open space. And of course, the reason why is I don't want this. I could have just done electric fence here. I don't want this to be electrified. Since it's new, I want them to kind of learn this process of making this turn and not get spooked so bad that they never want to come back, because this is their home base. That'll stress them out. So if they have a clean transition from here to here, gets them away from that. In fact, I'll probably even disconnect the electric inside the paddock, make that even more of a safe zone, because I'm not really worried about them getting out of it now. We'll see. But you know, having this physical barrier here and then just a psychological barrier the rest of the way, it is what it is. So the last thing I want to do, of course, is tie in this jumper, and then we'll be ready to loose the hounds. So I just put, I like these reverse T-post clips. So most T-post clips, of course, clip on the upper part of the T or the crossbar of the T if you look at it vertically. These clip on the backside. So you can, of course, get those. So if you needed insulators on both sides of your T-post, then you have that option. Now I've been asked several times why I don't make permanent splices. I actually use the crimp splices like you're supposed to when it comes to doing these type of junctions. And quite honestly, it's because, well, first and foremost, I'm cheap, but second of all, this is all temporary. I want to have, the whole part of this is being able to move it whenever I want to move it. There's places like at the end of the driveway where I know I'm never going to extend pasture. I put the crimp splices in to just make good connection, maximize where I can. But in this place here, where this could be torn down in a couple months because I may want to plant some late summer crop here in the pig area, I don't want to waste those splices. So it just allows me to have more of a element of temporary, but where I know I'm going to be permanent, then I can come back and install those permanently. Well, okay, I think it's time to put the power to it, do some testing. I had some elderberry shoots coming up here, and I just see the deer have eaten them down. That's to be expected. So let me go plug the Energizer in, and we'll see what we get. Okay, I want to test on. So our Energizer's right there, so I'm going to test on this side of our jumper. And remembering that 3 is the magic number. So that's 6.92. So 6,900 kilovolts. 6,900 volts. Let's test on the other side here. Getting 7,000. So obviously our jumper's working. We'll go test the other end as well, just to see, make sure we've got continuity all the way around. But with that jumper, of course, this would have been the tail of it, and now we're good. So what I'm going to do, I hear something ticking, so I'm just going to see where that is. I think it may actually be inside of the paddock there. Oh, it's actually right here. Some of this creeping Charlie has gotten up against the wire. But as hot as this is, it'll actually kill a lot of that creeping Charlie. All right, so now we should be able to open up our gate. I don't expect him to come rushing out of there. Ooh, look at that. Almost walked right into it. Ah, can't fix stupid, can you? Oh, mercy. I don't expect him to come rushing out. But I think they will come out soon enough. We're going to take the gate. We're going to tear it off its hinges. And we're going to move a lot of the dirt that they've mounted up. The little snipes. Put this cinder block here. That way they don't lock themselves out. Duck. Probably should put some ribbon on that, shouldn't I? Perfect. Little chink in the armor, Ted. All right, for the sake of full disclosure, you guys saw in that video clip where Butthead here comes out and immediately goes through the fence and doesn't back up, goes straight through. So she's a little hard-headed. I was able to get her back in. I thought I was recording, but I guess I wasn't. But I was able to get her back in about 5 minutes. Just got her nose pointed back around. Actually got her to run back around this way and come in this way, which was fine. And then, so it's the next day. So I came down and noticed that 5 are in the pasture. And then little Miss Stubborn here, she's lying right here on the side. She actually made her little bed last night to lie here. And I could tell where she had been grazing. She kind of uprooted some stuff just around the edge of my side-by-side. So she stuck around. And that's the importance of establishing with the training paddock this home base. Keeping the feeder in there, keeping the shelter in there, all that stuff. So instead of the pig just hitting the hill and saying, I got to go find somewhere, she's going to stay with the rest of the herd, but also knows that this is home base. So when I saw her down here, all I had to do was just approach her, and she came shooting back under the fence here. She knows the fence is here, and she knows it's hot, and she's just still learning. In fact, when I was filling up the feeder yesterday, she was out here and she wanted to come back in, and she went to the edge of the fence multiple places and stuck her nose up, and she could sense it there, and she backed up and finally ended up coming back through the door. So just trying to get her to learn what the fence is, what it's doing, and she's not meeting the instinct like some of the other pigs to jump back. So she's going to be a little bit of a problem child, I think. So what are my options if she continues to be a little pain in the butt and breaks out? Well, obviously we could have a pig roast, but that's not the top of my list right now. Some of the simple things to do is to recognize where she's getting out, and it's clear this is the spot where she's coming outside the fence. She's just coming and making that turn, and when she's getting hit, she's shooting forward. So I could kind of recreate the training paddock here to some degree. If I had an extra cattle panel, I could run it through here just 16 feet, not try to do the whole thing, but just be able to have that obstruction here. Another thing to do, probably be even easier, is just lower the wire a little bit, because it's hitting her kind of eyebrow height. Maybe we need to get down below snout height, and that way that'll hopefully stop her, turn her around versus going forward. Some other things I've done is just simply, like behind you, there's an old ash log that's probably about 8 inches in diameter and 10 feet long. I can pick that thing up and lay it here just on the outside of that fence. So again, that physical barrier, it would probably keep her from even trying to just graze through, because that's what she's doing. She's just keeping her nose down and she's just grazing through. Bang, gets hit in the top of the head and goes out. So lowering the fence, putting a solid section of fence here, or just a simple obstruction like a log, anything like that. Even a board, I could stand a board up on that side, and that would most likely take care of it. Again, that's why I can't emphasize enough when it comes to training pigs to electric fence, is to have a home base firmly established in their minds to say, this is a safe zone. This is where we want to come back to if things get weird. That's why she bedded down right here. That's as close as she could get to her friends in the hut until I forced her to go back into that fence, because she knows it's there. She doesn't want to go back through it. So it's not like she's disregarding it. She's just kind of wandering through it mistakenly on the way out. All right, well, I'll keep you guys posted, obviously, as our pig saga continues. I've done a little clearing. I don't know if you noticed the trees down in the back. I wanted to be able to sit in my office and look down here and see them. So with all the greenery coming on, that's made that difficult. So I cut some of that down, clearing up some things. More sunlight, of course, means more grass, more forage for them on the hillside there. But I'll document as we go along how they manage on this section of pasture. And then, of course, when it's time to move them to the next one, and we'll make sure to include that as well. Well, thank you all so much for watching. I pray you have a great week. Take care.